Hi guys. Hi everyone. It's Miss Elaine from the Firehouse Art Center again. I'm coming to you from Longmont, Colorado in my house. The Firehouse Art Center is currently closed, but we're bringing our art classes online so that you guys can continue to create art while we're all in our homes. So today is our first class for Watercolor Week. This is Watercolor Week. We're going to be exploring how to use watercolors. If you guys have these liquid watercolors, awesome. If not, I will also be using my pan watercolors just to show you that you can do both. And I also have white crayon. This is just a crayon in a plastic holder, but it's a wax crayon. But then I also have oil pastels to show you how to use both. If you have oil pastels, you can use these. If you don't have any oil pastels, but you just have crayons, you can use crayons. You can use liquid watercolors. I love this stuff. So if you get a chance to order it online, the colors are just really, really vibrant. Or if you have your pan watercolors, make sure you get those out too. I will be using a brush with clean water, and I have watercolor paper, but I'm also going to demonstrate on just normal paper. It's a little bit thicker than printer paper, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could see that you can use supplies that you have at home. So if you don't have fancy watercolor paper, it doesn't matter. You can still do watercolor at home. Just try not to use as much water. Because the more moisture you use, the more that your paper will buckle. But another way to solve that is you can tape your paper around the edges with blue painter's tape, and then that will help it from curling. So, as I said, it's Watercolor Week, and I just wanted to show you the project that we're doing today, and then also the project that we're going to be doing on Wednesday and Friday. So today, we are going to be doing a lesson on color mixing. We're going to be doing a lesson on the color wheel, as well as warm and cool colors. So as you can see, I painted these, and I actually used just yellow, red, and blue, which are our three primary colors, to get all of the other secondary colors. So this is our lesson on color mixing today. We're going to use yellow, red, and blue. And we're going to get orange, purple, and green. So obviously you can see orange, you mix the red and the yellow. Purple, you mix the blue and the red. Green, you mix the yellow and the blue. And since there's this extra space here, I just mix brown, which is all three colors together. If you happen to be using your pan watercolors, you obviously will have some of these colors already mixed. So you can just go ahead and use the colors that you have, or if you want to go in and do the color mixing, you can. We're going to use that information to make our spider painting. We're going to be doing resist with the white crayon and the oil pastel. We're going to be putting our little spider guy on and talking about, as we make it, whether a spider is an insect or not, because it's definitely a bug and probably my least favorite, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So Wednesday, we are going to be doing this guy. Super cute painting. But before we get here, I'm going to show you how to make these cool textures. I know that we did the salt texture the other week with dinosaurs, but we're going to be doing washes, and washes are watercolor using water. So like you paint the water first and then the color on top, and it creates a watered down lighter color. But here we're going to be using a salt wash solution. Here we're going to be mixing a bleach wash solution. So definitely get your parents to help you with that. This one's just regular water. And then this one's a technique that we're going to use with saran wrap. So make sure you have saran wrap, salt, and bleach for Wednesday's class. And then we're going to use all that knowledge to create Mr. Turtle. Then on Friday, we're going to come back and we're going to make this beautiful sunflower painting, which is based off of Van Gogh's sunflowers. So we'll get a little bit of art history as well as our watercolor lesson, and also a lesson on complementary colors. So let's get started. I am actually going to not turn it just yet, but I wanted to show you some information that we're going to be using in this lesson. So here is our color wheel right here. And as I said, we're going to be mixing the secondary colors, orange, purple, and green, using our primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. That's pretty much it. But then when we paint our spider, we're going to use our cool colors as the background. So our cool colors are green, blue, and purple. We're not going to be using any of the warm colors today in the background of the spider, which are yellow, orange, and red. So that's our color wheel. And we're going to be learning about the elements of design. So if you look here, the elements of design are line, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, straight, curved, and dotted, broken, thick, or thin. We're going to learn a little bit about shapes. So those are two-dimensional flat shapes, geometric, so squares, circles, ovals, triangles. And then in this lesson, we are going to be learning more about color and value, as opposed to form, texture, and space. There might be a little bit of space in there, but I'll let you know when we get there. But so line, shape, and color, and a little bit of value too, because watercolor usually does have a lot of values, and value is the lightness or darkness of an image. So based on how much water you add, that's the value of your painting. So I'm going to clean off my workspace a little so that there's space for you guys to see, and we're going to get started. So I'm going to turn the screen. And if you guys are here watching, I see that there are some kiddos watching. Definitely post, make a comment so that I can say hi. And turning it down. And there you go. Okay. So I have these handy dandy little containers, but you know what? You don't need these fancy things with the lids. All you need are Tupperware containers. So if you are allowed to use your Tupperware containers from your kitchen, go ahead and grab those. But just make sure to rinse them out before it all dries out. So I'm going to be using liquid watercolors for the first part, and then I'm going to show you how to use your pan watercolors. Gonna move this. So my home office desk is kind of small, but we make do. So here's my palette. I'm going to add a couple of drops of my liquid watercolor into my containers. Now this stuff is very concentrated. So if you look, I'm gonna add just 3 drops in there. Move that to the top. Here's my yellow. It looks orange in the container, but it's yellow. And I'm going to put 3 drops in there. I don't know if you can see when I'm pouring it in, but it's kind of like, it's really thick. But that is because it is very concentrated. So 1, 2, 3. And you'll see I already have some green mixed here, but I'm going to mix on the paper for this. So you don't have to pre-mix your paints. So here is my jar. I am going to swish, wipe it on the side. Actually, I'm not going to wipe it on the side. I'm going to get my brush pretty wet, and I am just going to add a little bit of water into my paint. As I said, it's really concentrated for this liquid watercolor, so you actually can add some water to that paint instead of using it straight. It's really, really bright if you use it straight. Okay, so now that I've prepared my paint, I'm going to show you what you can do for your pans, just to prepare your pan watercolors as well. All you're going to do is find the red, blue, and yellow that you like, and you're just going to add some water into the little pan of color. And that's going to prepare your watercolors so that when you do use them, they're ready to go. Okay, so I'm gonna put this to the side. I'm gonna be using these, and I'm gonna get my paper ready. So right now, we are just making our color wheel, color mixing. So I'm gonna put this on the top. Now you see, I have made patterns for each of these rectangles. Now I'm going to draw them with a white crayon. So it might be hard for you guys to see, but I'm going to leave this up here so that you guys can see the patterns that I am drawing. I'm going to turn it so that it is this way because that's how I'm going to do it. Okay, so first thing you want to do is take your paper and fold it in half. Hi, Emma and Carrie. Thank you guys for coming to class with me. Then I'm going to fold one half in, and then I'm going to fold the other half in. So now I've made 4 rectangles. Now my paper is a little bit smaller. I actually just took an 8.5 by 11 paper and cut it in half, but you can use a full page if you want, but it's up to you. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I am just going to estimate, and first I'm going to draw a line where the folds are. So as I said, white crayon, can't really see it on the white paper, but it's there. It's part of the magic when you use watercolor. It reveals all the white lines. So I'm going to estimate halfway in between here, halfway in between here, halfway in between here, and then here. You can keep folding in half if you wanted to, but this is just an easy way to split these rectangles in half. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 really long rectangles. Now I am going to actually grab a different color. I might actually just do this so you guys can see. So in the lesson, you are going to be using white, but since I want you guys to see how I'm drawing, I am going to use yellow so that you guys can actually see my rectangles. Because it's kind of hard when I say I'm drawing with a white crayon on top of white paper, and it's hard for you to see. So you guys keep using your white. I'm going to use yellow. So I've just made lines where those folds were, and then I estimated where these lines are. Okay, I'm going to bring it closer so you guys can see. And then I am going to fold it like a hot dog in half. And it doesn't have to be exact. And I'm going to draw another line going all the way across, just like that. Okay? Just like that. Now, I'm going to draw patterns on each of these rectangles. And a pattern is a repeating visual element. And you can do whatever pattern you want. If you want to do stripes, you can do stripes. You can do stripes going across. You can do vertical stripes. You can do zigzag lines. So zigzag lines are just a bunch of mountains or a bunch of W's on its side. You can do curvy lines. You can do hearts. So just repeated elements over and over. It's filling your paper with patterns of designs. Let's see, what else am I going to do? I can do dashes, which are separated line. And then this last one, I'm going to do squares. So I'm going to show you guys this closer on the screen so you guys can see. Okay, and remember, I'm using yellow, but you guys can keep using white. So those are my patterns that I drew. So I have dots, I have horizontal stripes, vertical stripes, zigzags. Then I have wavy lines, hearts, dots, and squares. So keep going with those down here on this level too. So go ahead and just make your patterns. You can do the same ones if you want. If you want to do different patterns, you can. That's the reason that I separated it into 2 rows, just in case you wanted to do different patterns, but you don't have to. So for this one, I'm not going to do different patterns on the 2 rows. Okay. Now, the reason we are using our crayons to do our designs is because when we paint over it with our watercolor, the wax crayon or the oil pastel, whichever kind we've used, is going to resist the paint. So you can see right here, the white oil pastel has resisted the water, and you can see the design even though I've painted watercolor on top of it. So it resists the watercolor, and the underneath paper cannot be colored by the watercolor. So I'm going to finish off this with some squares. And ta-da! So I'm going to show you mine. There's the whole piece of paper. And I'm going to work, I'm going to turn this upside down and turn this right here so you guys can see. I'm going to work from this side all the way to this side. So I'm going to start with yellow, then orange, red, purple, blue, green, yellow, and brown. But I want you guys to listen to how I do these colors and paints, because we're going to do yellow first and then another yellow. And then we're going to come in with red, and we're going to do one red, and then do red on the yellow stripe, making orange. So just listen to the order how I'm doing it, because it will make a difference on when we're doing our painting. So go ahead and get your watercolor ready. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to paint with just water the first and the second column. So up and down, first and the second column, okay? Just with water. So we're just preparing our paper. Then we're going to paint the first and the second column with yellow. Now, because I used the yellow crayon, you're not going to see it as much. But if you guys used your white, you will see that pattern come through where your crayon has resisted the watercolor. So I've got one column painted. I'm going to paint the next one. Just like that. And then I am going to rinse out my brush by swishing it in the water until all the color comes off and wiping it on the side of my container. Then I am going to prepare the next column with water. So paint it with just plain water. The third column and the fourth column. Okay, so this one and this one, just with water. Just getting ready. Okay, then you're going to paint the third column and the fourth column with red. Now you can see, because of the yellow crayon, how it begins to resist. Okay, so this is my third column and my fourth column. Okay, so right now the two colors that we have on our paper are just yellow and red. No mixing yet. But now I'm going to go back with my red, and I'm going to paint the second column only, not the first column, just the second one. And we should get a mix that creates orange. Okay? So you're seeing how the crayon is resisting the watercolor. Now I'm going to swish and wipe again on the side of my container. And I'm going to use the same brush for this. I'm going to paint the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th and 6th columns with water. So this is my 5th column. Then I'm going to do my 6th column just with water. Then I'm going to go in with my next color, which is going to be blue. Okay? So my blue's right here. Now I said I'm only going to paint the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 5th and 6th. Ooh, that looks cool. So now you can really see how the crayon is resisting that watercolor, or if you've used oil pastel, how your oil pastel is resisting the watercolor. And see, blue. Now I am going to go back and I'm going to paint 1, 2, 3, 4, column number 4 with blue. So blue on top of the red creates another secondary color, which is purple. So we've already created 2 secondary colors now, the orange and the purple. So I'm going to rinse my brush again really well. I'm going to then I'm going to paint this one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 7 with water. So there are 2 yellows on this, but that's only because I wanted you to see that the blue and the yellow make green. So I do realize there's yellow and yellow, but there's a reason for that. So I'm going to paint this column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 with water. Then I'm going to get yellow. I'm going to paint the last or the 7th one with yellow. But then I'm going to come back and I'm going to paint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, column number 6, which is now blue. I'm going to paint the yellow on the top, and it's going to make our last secondary color, which is green. So now we've made the full color wheel. We've got our yellow, orange, red, purple, blue, and green. So we've got yellow, orange, red, purple, blue, and green. Okay? Now this last one, I'm going to paint with water. First I swish, then I paint with water. And we're just going to do a brown rectangle right here, a brown column. But how we're going to do that is we are going to first do yellow. Then listen very carefully because the next step is very important. We're going to swish because we don't want to get our colors dirty, and wipe. Then I'm going to get a little bit of blue. I'm paint blue on top. And of course, we just learned that blue and yellow make green. So we're going to get another green rectangle. But I'm going to swish again and get the teeniest amount of red. Now I say the teeniest amount of red because red is a very strong color and sometimes it overpowers everything else. And the mixture of red, blue, and yellow, we should come up with a brown color. So there you go. So now we have our color wheel, yellow, orange, red, purple, blue, and green, with a yellow just to show you that yellow and blue make green. And I showed you how to mix brown, which is just all 3 of your primary colors all together. I'm going to move this to the side and I'm going to get my other piece of paper, and we are going to make our spider. So go ahead and grab your piece of paper and you're just going to fold it in half like a hamburger. Unfold it and fold it in half like a burrito or a hot dog. So you get your paper and it's folded into fourths. Once again, you guys are going to use white. I'm going to use yellow just so you guys can see. But we're going to trace these lines right here and right here. Okay? Now we are going to make radiating lines coming from the center. So radiating lines are lines that end at the same point. So they come to the center and they radiate out. So they come out from the center. So you're going to start from the center and you're going to go all the way to the corner. So it's going to radiate from the center all the way out. Center, all the way out. Center, all the way out. And from the center, coming all the way out. Okay? So now we have what looks to be like a big white asterisk, if you can see the white on your paper. Now, we are going to make curved lines between each of these radiating lines, okay? And this is how we're going to build our spider web. And as we're doing this, I'm going to talk to you guys about spiders. So I know we've done a couple of classes about insects, and I've talked about the body parts of insects. So we're going to go to our second row of curved lines in between these radiating lines. So I've told you guys that insects have 3 body parts and 6 legs. But we know that spiders have 8 legs. So they are not insects, they are actually arachnids. And another difference is they do not have 3 body parts, they only have 2. So the head and the thorax of the spider is combined, and then the abdomen. So in insects, they have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. But in spiders, it's just the head and thorax are combined in one, and then the abdomen is separate. So I've already made 2 rows of these curved lines in between the radiating lines to create my spider web. I'm going to add another one. And really, you can make these as close to each other as you want. So if you want to put a bunch of these in, you can. You can make them closer than mine are. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3 lines on my spider web. And I'm just going to keep going, and I want you to keep going too. So I'm using yellow, but as I said, you guys can keep using white. And this is a crayon, but you can use oil pastels. Just don't use chalk pastels. Those won't work with the resist. Only oil pastels and crayons will. Okay. So I'm going to add just a couple of these. Like this goes off the page, but it's okay. And that one will go off the page. You can keep going off the page if you want, or you can just stop. But I'm going to show you closer what my spider web looks like. There you are. Now, as I said, I'm using yellow, but you guys can use white. It's just if I were to draw white on a white paper, you guys wouldn't see anything of what I was drawing, and you would be thinking that Miss Elaine was crazy for showing you nothing. But if I were to use white, like you guys are, so I'm going to show you. So can't really see that. I mean, you can kind of see it if you turn it in the light, but it would be really hard to demonstrate that for you guys. And as I said, for this one, I am going to use my pan watercolors to show you guys that you can use supplies that you already have at home. If you don't have your liquid watercolors, you can still use pan watercolors. But I recommend getting them because they are a super fun supply to have. And if you ever see these guys, so this is from, I think it's blick.com, but you can get them online. And it says dickblick.com. They also have metallic liquid watercolors, which are awesome. I love those. And then I'm going to add this to my yellow. So I'm just prepping my pans again because they got a little dry. Okay, but we got to go on because we got to do our spider. So I'm going to show you this really quickly. As I was saying, the spider only has 2 body parts. So the combined head and thorax actually has a super scientific name. It's a cephalothorax. So whereas the insect has the head and the thorax, the spider only has a cephalothorax. And then this right here is the abdomen. So same as in an insect, the abdomen's on the back, and it holds the lungs, heart, and reproductive organs. And then here at the end, right here, is the spinneret. And the spinneret is where the silk comes out for the spider to weave his web. This one also has fangs. And instead of antenna, which insects have, spiders have pedipalps, which is a really cool word. And I think I might have to say it a couple more times. Pedipalps. So those work as antenna. And also they have these hairs that are on their legs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 8 legs. And the hairs pick up vibrations and also smells from the air. So super cool things about spiders. I can definitely appreciate spiders. I just don't really like seeing them in my house, but I do try and catch them with a glass and take them outside. But they're not my favorite. So we're going to go ahead and put our spider. You can put your spider anywhere you want on your paper. I'm going to put my spider facing down, and I'm going to give him his head or his cephalothorax. Then I'm going to make his abdomen. And his legs actually come out of the cephalothorax. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can draw any sorts of weird fangs and stuff coming out as well. So that's Mr. Spider. Make sure you color him in all the way because remember, we're going to be painting watercolor on top of this, and whatever's not colored will not resist the watercolor and will be colored over. So I'm going to get my brush ready. And I'm going to swish it. I'm going to paint water all over this paper. And I'm going to go side to side, so long strokes. I'm going side to side, just like I showed you guys for the sunset. Side to side to side to side. Now, my brush is pretty big. So if you look, it didn't take too long to cover that. Then I'm going to swish and wipe. And we are going to be using the cool colors. So as I said, that is blue, purple, and green. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to paint the whole page blue. Ooh, that looks really cool. I really love it how when you paint the watercolor over the crayon, how quickly it resists it. And you can definitely see how the design is underneath that watercolor and it is resisting the color being put onto the page. So I am done painting my whole page with the blue pan watercolor. Now I'm going to show you why. I'm going to hold this up. Don't hold up your page because it's probably wet, but I'm going to show you why. See, it's all blue. I love these liquid watercolors, okay? So that was pan. Here is liquid. So it's just so much more concentrated. If you don't have the supply, that's okay. You can use pan watercolors, and if you get your paintbrush really, really in there, you can get the same kind of intensity, but it's just a lot easier with the liquid watercolors. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more blue just so we have a good base of blue because we've got to add to make it purple. Now, what do we add again? We have to add red. And then to make it green, what do we add? We have to add yellow. So I'm going to swish and I'm going to wipe because I don't want my colors to mix. So I have to make sure my water is, my brush is clean. And I'm not blotting it on a piece of paper towel, which I would usually do because watercolor needs water. So water is not a bad thing to have. I'm going to get the red and I'm going to paint on the side that I want purple. So if you guys are looking at it, it's the right side. I'm doing this upside down, so it's actually my left side, but for you, it's your right side. And I'm going to leave a little bit of blue in the center. So I'm going to do red right here. And you'll see it makes it purple. And then right here, I want this to be green. So I know that I have to add yellow. And these are our 3 cool colors. So you'll see that I used a warm color on both of these secondary colors, but the created color, green and purple, are on our cool colorway. So I'll swish and wipe, get my brush clean, and I'm kind of just gonna brush it so that it blends it. So it's not so stripy where it says green, blue, and purple, just so it blends a little bit more. And there is our Mr. Spider watercolor resist painting. So hopefully your guys's turned out just as well. And I really love it. I think it looks cool, even though I used yellow. Oh, look, you can see the little white one that I drew as my demo for showing you how the white crayon doesn't show. But it shows up now. So there's the one that I did for my sample. And you can tell it's a little different. With watercolor, it is always very, you never know exactly what you're going to get because it's all a combination of how wet your paper is, how much water you have on your brush, and how much of color you have on your brush as well. So how concentrated is it on your brush? So it's kind of hard to be very exact with watercolor. It is not an exact medium, but it is very beautiful the way it blends and how you can create just a very soothing color mix using your watercolors. So there's Mr. Spider. And here is our color wheel study with our resist and our patterns. And that is the class for today. So I'm going to turn the page up so that you guys can see me again. So, hey guys. So I hope you had fun making our watercolor spider. Watercolor might take a little bit of time to dry. You might have some puddles on your paper. So don't lift up your paper until it's fully dry, or those puddles might end up spilling. Don't forget to fully rinse out your brushes in clean water. As you can see, my water is not so clean, but I want to make sure my brushes do get clean. So I'm going to rinse them in clean water. Since I have my palette in these containers, I don't want them to dry out. I'm going to put the lids on because we're going to be doing watercolor on Wednesday as well. And I'm going to show you just so you guys can see again. Wednesday, we're going to be learning how to do scientific solutions. So we're going to be adding a little bit of science to the lesson by doing a salt wash, a salt solution, a bleach solution. We're going to be doing a regular water wash, and then a technique with saran wrap. So the supplies you'll need for Wednesday are obviously your watercolors. You'll need salt, bleach, and saran wrap. So saran wrap, not cling wrap, because that creates a different kind of look. But once we learn all that stuff, we're going to put it all together and make this super cool resist turtle. As you can see, this right here is the texture created by the saran wrap. So it's kind of a cool way to get like a crackle effect. So we're going to do that on Wednesday and come back on Friday to do our version of Van Gogh's sunflowers. So thank you so much for coming to virtual art class with me. The best thing about these live stream classes is you can watch live, obviously. You can comment and ask me questions, like if something's not working out for you the way it had on my sample, you can ask me questions and I can try and help you out. or you can come back and watch it at your own convenience and make your art whenever you can fit it into your day. So it's a really cool thing about live streaming on Facebook. Thank you for coming. Once again, my name is Miss Elaine Waterman. I'm the Executive Director at the Firehouse Art Center. We are closed right now, but we are really looking forward to when we can reopen and see our community and be there to offer classes in person. If you've done the project, post it on our Facebook page. I love seeing all of the stuff that you guys create, or you can send it to me via email or via Facebook and I will post it. But I will see you back here on Wednesday. Also, check out our YouTube channel. Our instructor for Saturday art experience, which is the art class that we have for kids here at the Firehouse, is also sharing videos on our YouTube channel, but he's doing them in English and Spanish as well. So we are happy to offer that to our Spanish-speaking community. So definitely check out our YouTube channel. I'll make sure to post a link. You can also find the link on our Facebook page, or visit us at firehouseart.org. So bye guys. I'll see you next time.